Coming up on Mountain News at 6, the woman accused of hitting and killing Paige Hayes while driving impaired is sentenced to 12 years in prison. And the Senate committee tackles teacher sick leave with Senate Bill 4. We'll hear from both sides of that issue.
And rain chances are looming as we end the week, timing out those showers as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
A woman who pleaded guilty to charges stemming from a 2017 drunk driving incident has been sentenced to 12 years in prison. Alyssa Noble pleaded guilty to vehicular homicide, assault, and wanton endangerment charges. Noble hit and killed 23-year-old Paige Hayes in 2017. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox talked to Hayes' family about the sentencing.
Nearly 7 years have passed since Paige Hayes was hit and killed in Hyden. Hayes' family says the hard work has paid off getting to a sentencing for Alyssa Noble, who was driving the car that hit Hayes.
As much justice as we're going to get.
Johnson and a person injured in the crash gave victim statements. Johnson says she had no feelings for Noble as she spoke.
I'm just to the point where it's kind of numbing now. I don't have any feelings toward her whatsoever, good or bad.
Johnson says she has forgiven Noble. When Noble testified saying she was sorry, however, Hayes' family felt it may not have been genuine.
I hope it come from her heart.
I think actions speak louder than words.
I think it was
saw
just
a lot
for
of
show.
actions.
I think it was for show too.
Noble and her attorney declined to comment on the sentencing. She will reportedly have to serve 85% of her sentence before being eligible for parole. In Leslie County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Hayes' family also said they plan to have an event in the summer in honor of Paige Hayes. There is a memorial for Hayes near Primary Care Center in Hyden. She was killed on August 21st, 2017. We have an update now on a story we first brought you yesterday. We now know the name of the person who was killed in a crash in Lawrence County. State police say 49-year-old James Cisco was the person who was killed in that accident on US 23. A car was coming from one direction when it crossed the center line and hit a semi-truck approaching from the other way. A Clay County man is in jail after he was accused of stealing a skid steer. Deputies with the Laurel County Sheriff's Office arrested 41-year-old Franklin Collins of Manchester. Collins was charged with theft by unlawful taking. He was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. Deputies are still looking for the skid steer. If you have any information about it, you can contact the Sheriff's Office at 606-864-6600. A Wolfe County man is facing several charges after police say they found drugs, cash, and guns on him. Last week, deputies with Stanton PD brought Dallas Trent into custody for DUI. After performing a traffic stop, police searched his vehicle, saying they found about 3 ounces of suspected controlled substances. After obtaining multiple search warrants, police say they also found drugs, firearms, and cash during a search of Trent's home.
Well, no complaints in the weather office on this Wednesday evening. Once again, we are dry under a mainly clear sky. That current temperature at I-64 over in Rowan County sitting at 59 degrees. Most of us in the upper 50s and lower 60s at this hour, up to 61 for Hazard, 63 in Manchester, also in Harlan, and 63 also over in Somerset. So we are well above average on this Wednesday evening. Those temperatures not as cold as you wake up on Thursday. Most of us wake up in the upper 30s and lower 40s, all thanks to those clouds increasing. So again, those low temperatures not as cold as you wake up on Thursday. Up on first alert, pinpoint Doppler, dry weather continues as we go into this evening, and one more dry day on the way tomorrow before rain chances are set to increase for the weekend, also into early next week. All those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. The Department of Community-Based Services estimates there are more than 1,000 children in some form of relative foster care around the state. Norma Hatfield with the Kinship Families Coalition of Kentucky is raising her 2 granddaughters. The practice is called kinship care, but as laws are written, if you check the wrong box on forms, those who secure permanent custody will see benefits and financial support drop off.
It takes into consideration real life, and it also takes into consideration the children and the families.
Senate Bill 151 is sponsored by Senator Julie Rack Adams. If it passed out of committee with a vote of 10-0, it will now head to the Senate floor. Kentucky lawmakers say they need to make a change to the way teachers are paid for unused sick leave days. They say it's needed as the cost of the pension fund continues to skyrocket. Teachers say being able to cash out unused sick or personal days is another benefit they do not want to lose. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the debate.
We have a motion and a second.
Senator Jimmy Higdon says he filed Senate Bill 4 to tackle a problem that came out of a perk to teaching.
The sick leave program has kind of morphed into something that we didn't intend for it to be.
He says current law allows for teachers to cash out sick days when they retire. But he says the original intent was it to just be 10 days a year, but some districts allow personal and emergency days to be rolled into that. But this bill would end that.
It's a big perk, very big perk. But over the years, it's kind of gotten a little out of line. Some school districts are given 12 sick days, some are given 13.
Educators opposed to the measure say reducing the number of sick days they can cash out will take away another benefit.
And now to have that taken away when you've planned on that is a little deflating for educators when we can't get teachers to go into the profession.
And some Kentucky lawmakers say this is just one part of the overall pension problem that they say they continue to add more and more money to, even more than they are actually required to do.
Now, these sick days, when used for spiking, they cost the taxpayers money.
In 2030, which is 4 years away, 2 more budget cycles, our payment will be over $2 billion a year.
Some say if this passes, districts will spend more to hire substitutes because teachers will be forced to use their time before retirement.
Is that teachers already aren't taking their time because we don't have enough subs to cover for our kids.
Bill passed committee 8-3. 2 Democrats and 1 Republican voted against it. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The bill will next be heard on the full Senate floor. Earlier today, Senate Bill 127 was approved unanimously by the Senate. That bill is known as the Aero Act. The bill was sponsored by London Senator Brandon Storm. The focus of it is to enhance education for aviation and aerospace professionals in the state by establishing scholarship funds and collaboration between public programs and private partners within the industry. The bill will now head to a House committee. The Street Voice Council presented its survey results to lawmakers regarding House Bill 5, known as the Safer Kentucky Act. That bill would strengthen penalties for crime in the state and also, some say, criminalize homelessness. The Street Voice Council is made up of people who are or were homeless. They say more than 1,900 people older than the age of 18 completed their survey. They found most respondents do not find homeless camps in isolated areas a threat to the public.
We just wanted you to have another voice. A voice of your people, a voice of the Street Voice Council. And they all agreed that we already have existing laws.
The House passed the Bill 5, or passed House Bill 5 last week. It is now waiting to be heard in the Senate for a vote. House Bill 299 passed through the House today, a unanimous decision to support an effort by State Representative Ashley Tackett Lafferty. WYMT's Buddy Forbes explains how that bill is designed to bring some funding to projects around the region.
A bill about bringing more grant funding access to the people of Kentucky.
And it's just a shame to leave any money on the table when it comes to investing in our communities, especially in communities like ours, which are already in need.
House Bill 299 plans to create an online grant database, providing a centralized hub for individuals and entities to access and review opportunities for grant applications.
And once the Secretary of State receives all of that information, all of that Information will be compiled into a database and posted on the Secretary of State's online website.
A searchable space for interested parties to find funding opportunities they may otherwise never know existed.
Now, while across the board, I think that this will be beneficial, I think in communities like mine, it will be especially beneficial. I think our volunteer firefighters, our homeless shelters, our animal shelters, places like that will find this tremendously beneficial.
Representative Ashley Tackett Lafferty says her bill, which unanimously passed through the House Wednesday, could help cut down some of the barriers between needed community projects and the possibility of funding.
And I have a lot of accessibility to a lot of great information here in Frankfort, but if it's difficult for me to follow up, then it's certainly difficult for others to find the information they need that might help them move in the right direction.
Putting the cash just a few clicks away. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
The bill would also require grant awarding agencies to report quarterly to the Secretary of State to keep grant opportunities updated on the database. In an interview with WYMT's Washington News Bureau today, Congressman Hal Rogers talked about the car crash in early January that forced the 86-year-old congressman, who has served since 1981, to take some time to recover.
Well, it was a car accident. I was attempting to turn left to get to my condo, and this oncoming car in the other direction hit me. Totaled my car. I was very lucky, blessed as a matter of fact, to not have more serious injuries. I feel much better. I still am under doctor's care, but I'm back at work.
Congressman Rogers has returned during a busy week. Last night, a vote to impeach the Homeland Security Secretary failed when a few Republicans joined Democrats on the vote. Rogers also says he still supports money for Israel and for Ukraine in its war with Russia.
Well, hopefully you were able to enjoy the nice and dry weather this week because rain chances are not far away. Your forecast coming up after this break. Plus,
state health officials confirm they found a case of measles earlier this week up in Ohio. Now we'll hear from one health expert in Kentucky on what you need to do to guard against it.